Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says we must learn to rely only on the Divine grace and to call for its help in all circumstances. Then it will work out constant miracles. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 1, The Book of Beginnings, Canto 4, The Secret Knowledge, page 61. Too seldom is the shadow of what must come cast in an instant on the secret sense, which feels the shock of the invisible, and seldom in the few who answer give the mighty process of the cosmic will communicates its image to our sight, identifying the world's mind with ours. Our range is fixed within the crowded arc of what we observe and touch and thought can guess, and rarely dawns the light of the unknown, waking in us the prophet and the seer. The outward and the immediate are our field. The dead past is our background and support. Mind keeps the soul prisoner. We are slaves to our acts. We cannot free our gaze to reach wisdom's sun. Inheritor of the brief animal mind, man still a child in nature's mighty hands, in the succession of the moments lives. To a changing present is his narrow right. His memory stares back at a phantom past. The future flees before him as he moves. He sees imagined garments, not a face. Armed with a limited precarious strength, he saves his fruits of work from adverse chance. A struggling ignorance is his wisdom's mate. He waits to see the consequence of his acts. He waits to weigh the certitude of his thoughts. He knows not what he shall achieve or when. He knows not whether at last he shall survive or end like the mastodon and the sloth and perish from the earth where he was king. He is ignorant of the meaning of his life. He is ignorant of his high and splendid fate.
Sharanam Parameshwari Sarvaroopamayi Meera Sarvam Meera Mayam Jagata Om Gurubhya Namaha Om Devebhya Namaha Om Meera Shri Meeraye Namaha. Nityam Meera Meera Ksharamaya
Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, Book SABCL, Volume 24, page 1064, topic Our Real Self. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, this little mind, vital and body, which we call ourselves, is a surface movement and not ourself at all. It is an external bit of personality put forward for one brief life for the play of the ignorance. It is equipped with an ignorant mind, stumbling about in search of fragments of truth, an ignorant vital rushing about in search of fragments of pleasure, an obscure and mostly subconscious physical, receiving the impacts of things and suffering, rather than possessing a resultant pain or pleasure. All that is accepted until the mind gets disgusted and starts looking about for the real truth of itself and things. The vital gets disgusted, begins wondering whether there is not such a thing as a real bliss, and the physical gets tired, wants liberation from itself and its pains and pleasures. Then it is possible, says our Lord, for the little ignorant bit of personality to get back to its real self, and with it to these great things, or else extinction of itself, nirvana. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the real self is not anywhere on the surface, but deep within and above. Within is the soul supporting an inner mind, inner vital, inner physical, in which there is a capacity for universal wideness, and with it for the things now asked for, direct contact with the truth of self and things, taste of a universal bliss, liberation from the imprisoned smallness and sufferings of the gross physical body. It is, according to our psychology, connected with our small outer personality by certain centers of consciousness, of which we become aware by integral yoga. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, only a little of the inner being escapes through these centers into the outer life, but that little is the best part of ourselves and responsible for our art, poetry, philosophy, ideals, religious aspirations, efforts at knowledge and perfection. But the inner centers are, for the most part, closed or asleep. To open them and make them awake and active is one aim of our integral yoga. As they open, the powers and possibilities of the inner being also are aroused in us. We awake first to a larger consciousness and then to a cosmic consciousness. We are no longer little separate personalities with limited lives, but centers of a universal action and in direct contact with cosmic forces. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, moreover, instead of being unwillingly playthings of the later, as is the surface person, we can become, to a certain extent, conscious and masters of the play of nature. How far this goes depends on the development of the inner being and its opening upward to the higher spiritual levels. At the same time, the opening of the heart center releases the psychic being, which proceeds to make us aware of the divine within us and of the higher truth above us. For The highest spiritual self, says our Lord, is not even behind our personality and bodily existence, but is above it and altogether exceeds it. The highest of the inner centers is in the head, just as the deepest is the heart, but the center in which it opens directly to the self is above the head, altogether outside the physical body, which is called the subtle body, Sukshma Sarira. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says this self has two aspects, and the results of realizing it corresponds to these two aspects. One is a condition of wide peace, freedom, silence. The silent self is unaffected by any action or experience. It impartially supports them but does not seem to originate them at all, rather to stand back detached or unconcerned, udasima. The other aspect says our Lord is dynamic, and that is experienced as a cosmic self or spirit, which not only supports but originates and contains the whole cosmic action, not only that part of it which concerns our physical selves, but also that is beyond it, this world and all other worlds, the supraphysical as well as the physical ranges of the universe. Moreover, says our Lord, we feel the self as one in all, but also we feel it as above all, transcendent, surpassing all individual birth or cosmic existence. To get into the universal self, one in all, is to be liberated from ego. Ego either becomes a small instrumental circumstance in the consciousness or even disappears from our consciousness altogether. That is the extinction or nirvana of the ego. To get into the transcendent self above all makes us capable of transcending altogether even cosmic consciousness and action. It can be the way to that complete liberation from the world existence, which is also extinction, laya, moksha, nirvana. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says it must be noted, however, that the opening upward does not necessarily lead to peace, silence, and nirvana only. The sadhak becomes aware not only of a great, eventually an infinite peace, silence, wideness from above us, above the head as it were, and extending into all physical and supraphysical space, but also he can become aware of other things, a vast force in which all power, a vast light in which is all knowledge, a vast ananda in which is all bliss and rapture. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, at first they appear something essential, indeterminate, absolute, simple, kevala, and nirvana into any of these things seems possible, but we can come to see too that this force contains all forces, this light, all lights, this ananda, all joy possible. And all this can descend into us, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord speaks about the divine and says, He is the one existence, He is the original and universal delight that constitutes all things and exceeds them. He is the one infinite consciousness that composes all consciousness and informs all their moments. He is the one illimitable being who sustains all action and experience. His will guides the evolution of things towards their yet unrealized but inevitable aim and plenitude. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, to him, the heart can consecrate itself, approach him as a supreme beloved, beat and move in him as in a universal sweetness of love and living sea of delight. For his is the secret joy that supports the soul in all its experiences and maintains even the errant ego in its ordeals and struggles till all sorrow and suffering shall cease. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, his is the love and the bliss of the infinite divine lover who is drawing all things by their own path towards his happy oneness. On him the will can unalterably fix as the invisible power that guides and fulfills it and as the source of its strength. In the impersonality, this actuating power is a self-illumined force that contains all results and calmly works until it accomplishes in the personality an all-wise and omnipotent master of the yoga, whom nothing can prevent from leading it to its goal. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, this is the faith with which the seeker has to begin his seeking and endeavor. For in all his efforts here, but most of all in his efforts towards the unseen, mental man must perforce proceed by faith. When the realization comes, the faith, divinely fulfilled and completed, will be transformed into an eternal flame of knowledge, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo.